blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Moments with Myra. I'm so excited about today's episode because this conversation is all about leadership, courage, and making history. As we continue celebrating Black History Month, we're honoring the women who are breaking barriers, serving their communities, and showing us all about what it means to lead with purpose. I'm so excited, y'all. I really, really am. Today, I have the incredible honor of speaking with Deputy Chief now. Listen to what I said. Deputy Chief KZ Thomas, the first African American woman to serve as Deputy Chief of Police in Greenville, North Carolina. Her journey is one of determination, integrity, and inspiration, and I can't wait for you to hear how she's paving the way for others through service and strength. So grab your tea, open up your heart, and join me for this empowering conversation with the trailblazing Deputy Chief KZ Thomas right here on Moments with Myra. Deputy Chief Thomas, thank you so much for joining Moments with Myra. Can you start by sharing a little bit about your background and what inspired you to pursue a career in law enforcement?
Yes, well, thank you for having me. I am a native of Halifax County. I was born in New Jersey, but I grew up in North Carolina, Halifax County, North Carolina, to be specific. And, I was raised in a community where I was able to see people when they needed help, and I wanted to be a part of that. So when I was looking for careers, I had an opportunity to go to college, and I went to East Carolina University. And then I started thinking, like, what do I want to do? And originally I thought I wanted to be a computer science major. And I recognized quickly that that didn't work for me because I needed to interact with people. And I just didn't have that interaction with those courses. So I started taking criminal justice classes just because it was interesting. And then I just kept going back. So I had to declare a major, and I had enough credits where it was time to, I said, well, let's just do criminal justice. And from there, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I don't come from a family of law enforcement. I'm the first one in my family. So I really had to kind of dig a little deep and figure out, what could fulfill me and my need to serve. Because I'm all about service and helping people when they need it the most. And law enforcement just was like, I was able to check those boxes, check, check, check. So I entered in, you would almost say I entered in a little blind because I didn't really know all that it would take to be a police officer. I was working at a grocery store in college, and they had some officers that did security for us. And I harassed those officers. And I'm like, do you think I could be a police officer? What do you do? Are you scared? And then they were so patient with me, and they were Greenville police officers. And they said, just put in the application. So I did it. I took the risk, and the rest is history. I really was just looking for that career that would challenge me, keep me interested, and allow me to serve the community and help people.
It's so funny you say that, and I had to chuckle because I was a case manager in the emergency room, and working in the emergency room, we worked a lot with law enforcement, and I used to ask those same questions. I used to say, well, tell the chief of police that if they hire me, I can clear that board. I promise y'all I can clear that board. But I don't want to go through all that rigorous training with what I call boot camp and all of that stuff.
Right.
I understand. Now, when you begin your journey, did you ever imagine that one day you would make history as the first African American woman deputy chief in Greenville?
Not at all. Not at all. I really, when I first started my career, I was really focused on the basics. And this is what I tell young officers too. I mean, I think it's good to have a long-term goal, but when you first start off, you just got to figure out, do you even like this, right? Is this making you feel good? Do you feel fulfilled? So when I first started, I was just focused on learning the basics, like taking it all in, trying to be a well-rounded officer. Because a lot of officers, they try to figure out what they like and they're quick to say what they don't like. Well, I was trying to figure out, I needed to know a little bit of everything so I can really figure out what do I actually like. And
Mhm.
I didn't think what worked for me was to never be afraid of a challenge and to never be completely satisfied. And I mean that as in, okay, it's going great here, but is there still something else I can do? And what else can I do? And I think that helped me kind of move in places where some people were like, no, I'm not going there, or I don't want to do that job. I was like, well, I'll try it. I'll do it. And that momentum kept my career going. But no, I didn't walk in the door thinking I'm going to be deputy chief by no means. Um, I am definitely honored to be able to be in this position and to be able to work for the same agency. I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially these days. It's almost unheard of for anybody to stay in the same job and the same career. And my whole career has been with Greenville Police Department. I started at 22, and I'm not gonna say how old I am now, but I'm a lot older than 22. I've been on the job 21 years, so you can do the math. So I just think it's great that it's still exciting, and I got to see so many different things. And I would just tell people, take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time.
Yeah, that's all we can do is take it one day at a time. And you're right about still being able to be with the agency that you started off with, because it makes it really, really feel truly like family,
Right. Hmm.
So can you share what it felt like the moment you learned about your promotion to deputy chief?
Oh wow. So I was prepping for it a little bit, so it wasn't a complete surprise. But I still didn't imagine that it would happen as quickly as it happened. I had the opportunity, I was promoted to major, and when you're a major, you run a bureau. So I started from when I became a major, I was over the criminal investigation bureau. So that's all your detectives. I was doing that, and then the chief called me in and said, "Hey, I'm going to move you to the administrative services bureau." And I was like, "What?" Like, I'm having fun. I want to detective. This is good. I'm just learning it. I haven't been there that long. He's like, no, I think your skill set is going to be needed in the administrative bureau. And he said, this is going to prepare you for what comes next. Oh, okay. I thought my computer went. It's going to prepare you for what comes next. So this is where I tell you, sometimes you have to do things even when you don't understand the why behind it. So I could have been real resistant and said, no, I want to just stay where I'm at. But I said, okay, well, if he thinks I need to go over there, let me go over there and see what I can learn, right? So go over there with a open mind, and you always want to leave something better than where you left it. So I had a chance to work for the Administrative Services Bureau, and that was the perfect transition to be a deputy chief because I was already working directly with the chief. I was already filling in for the deputy chief and the chief when they needed, and I just learned the ins and outs of the department because nobody thinks about what the Administrative Services Bureau does, but
Yes.
they're the behind the scene people. They're the ones that handle your budget, your vehicles, your uniforms, everything that is needed to keep a police department going. And you got to understand that function if you're going to take the role of a deputy chief or a chief one day. So it was the perfect move. And my message is, sometimes we don't understand the why behind everything, but sometimes you have to take that risk and be willing to just go and learn, and you'll figure out that why. And it worked out. So in that position, I was able to be interim deputy chief. So I did the work, and then when they were ready to announce, I mean, I did an interview, but it was like, I got this. I felt pretty confident that I was ready to go.
Well, I think that it's a good message within a message when you were talking about not knowing the why. And I always say be obedient. And sometimes it's hard, girl. It is hard
Yes.
to be obedient when you can't see the complete picture
That's
of
right.
the why. So I really, really think that's a good message to be obedient no matter what it looks like. Just trust the process.
That's right. Trust the process.
Now, in history, we know that law enforcement has traditionally been a male-dominated field. What challenges have you faced as both a woman and a woman of color in this profession, especially in your county, in your area, where I know the ratio was a little bit higher as far as your white counterparts to maybe your people of color, and with the constituents and stuff. So how did that even, I can't even imagine.
Well, I would say, yes, there were times where I felt like people underestimated me, and I'm sure they still do, you know? People are always going to say, why her? Why did she get the opportunity? What did she do different? You know? But I always just try to make sure I do my best at everything I do. And I make sure that I take advantage of opportunities. Like, if there's a training opportunity, I'll go to it. And nothing is too little or non-important for me to feel like I can sit in the room and learn something. Sometimes when you start to rise up in position, you feel like, well, that's beneath me. I'm not going to that. Well, I say keep showing up. You never know what a class that you took maybe a long time ago, years ago. When you go back, you're like, oh, I didn't hear it, or the perception was different when you had that class. Maybe you were just starting, so what they're saying doesn't really go in the way it goes in as your mid career or towards the end of your career. So to overcome a lot of that, it's just one, you got to have a little internal motivation yourself. You got to remember your why you started, and your why you started is going to be a little bit different throughout your career. That could be, okay, I started for this reason, but now I have another reason, and now I have another reason. You know, so remembering your why and just prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Nobody can question your work, right? So your education, I took advantage of opportunities. I started this department with a 4-year degree, and I recognized that I wanted to have a little bit more, not because it was required, but I just knew that I needed to set myself apart from others, especially if I wanted to continue to move up. So I went back to school while working at the police department, and I got my master's degree. And then I was like, well, I don't want to just have a degree and not put it to use. So I started teaching. And I taught for our community college. I taught in-service classes internally, and I also teach for university classes. So I try to put my name out there. I'm not afraid to be a speaker or do the things that people don't really, they're like, I don't really want to do that. Well, you do it. You do it because every little thing you do is just helping build that resume. So when someone says, why her? Why her? How did she get this opportunity? Oh, go look at the resume. That tells you everything. So I
Then
just try to just keep putting the work in, and nobody can question that.
yes, because when
Yeah.
you would say why her, you said look at the resume, and after they look at the resume and everything that you've accomplished, why not her?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's important, and I think that's an important message to relate to anybody. Always continue to fill your cup up. Never ever be satisfied. Take those classes so that you can move forward, so that there's never a question as to why you are showing up in the spaces that you're showing up in, because
That is great.
it's important. Now, we know that representation matters. How do you feel your presence in leadership has influenced other officers, especially women and minority officers?
Well, I can say I feel I can tell that it makes a difference. I think it's important for the community to see people that look like them. It's also important for the agency to see that. And even if you don't look like them, it's important for them to see that in different roles because it gives them a new respect. If I can, if I can say that, it gives them a new respect, right? Like a woman, African American woman, and she's the second in charge. So they're like, oh, okay, all right. So I just think it just sends a different message. Even when recruits come in, they're like, oh, okay. But it also gives them hope and possibility. Like a lot of our officers, the younger ones, have sent me messages when I got promoted, and they're like, congratulations, you are showing us that we can do it too.
Yeah.
And that didn't just come from the minority officers. That came from some of the officers that are, they're not a minority. But it's just, I think I stand for two different things because I'm a woman. One, to see a woman in the role, our agency has never had a woman as a deputy chief or a chief. So that right there, I think that shows that we're growing and there's possibility there. And then to see that I'm an African American woman, that's just a whole nother level where they're like, okay, the community has showed me so much support. And I love when I see the little young girls and they walk up and they're like, oh wow, you're the chief. Oh, so we can do that too. And absolutely, they can, absolutely. So representation matters, and it definitely matters here in Pitt County.
And it's so funny you were talking about the little girls. Heck, for the grown women too, because when I tell you, when I was doing my investigative work and deciding who I wanted to have for Black History Month, and like I said, when I saw your story, I was like, I've got to have her. And I just prayed and put it out there in the universe. I said, if it's meant to be, it's going to be, because I was just so impressed, especially in the state that our country's in now and everything that's going on. It was not only just a feel-good story, but also, like you said, a reminder to those who sometimes may feel like we're the underdog that it's possible. We have to put in the hard work, but it's possible.
That's right.
What leadership principles guide you in your day-to-day work as deputy chief?
I would say integrity, accountability, transparency, and probably compassion. You cannot be an officer of anything. You can't do that job if you don't have integrity. So our integrity has to be above your average citizen. It does have to be at a high level. And you need to know that going in the job, because this isn't a job for you if you have kind of a low standard of integrity. So integrity is big, and it's big internal and external. I need the officers to know that that is our thing. We're going to hold you accountable. If you make a mistake, that's fine, but we got to own it and we got to fix it. And that's part of growth, right? So integrity is big. I think you got to have compassion for people. That compassion is important, because you are dealing with people when sometimes they're in their worst moment. And a lot of times, I know at 22, when I walked in the door, I thought I knew everything and I thought I seen everything, but there was so much that I hadn't seen. And I come from humble beginnings, but I think it humbles you more to see situations where you're like, oh, I thought I had it tough. Oh, I didn't have it as tough as I thought I did. Because you deal with people that are in some tough situations sometimes. So to have some compassion and try to help them work through it. Know that everything's not going to always be a happy ending, but you do your best. I think that's important. And transparency, as a leader, I have to be transparent, and not just transparent with the community, but also transparent within the agency. Because if I'm going to share information with the community, I also got to be able to share with the officers working internally. And they need to know what our plan is, what we're doing too, so they can share that message with the community also. So just being a good communicator and making sure that as we're working through problems, or if we're transitioning to different things, we're communicating that internally and externally with the community. And if we have an incident, we have to own it. We have to be able to share what we can share, and just hope that we have put in enough good that people can be patient with us while we work through the bad. That's why it's important to really build in your community. Because you never know when you're going to need to say, hey, I'm going to need a little grace, y'all. Let us work through it. Can you trust us to work through it? And if you have those good relationships, you'll usually get that response. And we have done really good here with our community. They really stand by us. And I believe they feel like we're fair and that we will give them the information. So those are my key things. I think integrity, accountability, compassion, and transparency.
Yeah, transparency, definitely. And definitely communication, especially in this climate that we are in now. Can you share a moment from your career where you truly, truly felt like you made an impact in the community with your job?
Oh man. So community is probably my platform when I think about like what's the big thing that stood out in my career. I had a chance to serve. So our community is broken up into 3 zones, and I've worked most of my career in the West Zone, which is an area that probably has more poverty, a little bit more violent crime. So the need there is more needed. So I had an opportunity to work with more of your community leaders and to do projects and all kinds of things. So I've done some pretty cool things. But one of the biggest things, or one of the things that kind of stand out the most, is there was a center called Operation Sunshine, and I had an opportunity to go to that center and meet the young ladies there. And their building just was not, I mean, it was called Operation Sunshine, but it just didn't bring that joy when you walked in. It was old, it needed a lot of improvement. And this was during COVID. So I took it on as a project as a zone commander that I wanted to give back and I wanted to get the officers and community involved. And it was challenging because, you know, in COVID, we're not even supposed to be together. So
Yeah.
we really worked through how to do this, but it turned out amazing. We did a news story and the community started donating funds and items, and we were able to paint that center. We were able to get volunteers to put in new flooring. They had ceiling tiles that needed to be replaced. We did that. We organized it. We partnered with one of our local artists that runs a painted peacock company, and they came and they painted a beautiful sunshine in the room. Um, we had a learning center that was moving, so they donated furniture. So at the end, this was just one of those projects where, like, it's something like you see on HGTV where it all comes together, and it
Yeah.
was literally Greenville that was able to like come together during a time where everybody was struggling and make this center beautiful for those young ladies. So that was probably one of the highlights of my career, just to see that project came to which, and then I was able to go back and see the young ladies in that space and how they loved their space and they were hanging out reading, and it was just great. It's very fulfilling.
I really, really enjoy listening to you tell that story and actually being able to see you tell that story because I could see the compassion and how, you know, it just made your spirit light up. And
Yeah,
I think it's so important, Deputy Chief, with the job that you guys have because you see so many things that are bad. So it's good when you can have those kind of stories where you're making contributions that are good in the community, you know?
for sure. Hmm.
So now, as we celebrate Black History Month, what does this time of year mean to you personally?
Oh wow. Well, it definitely gives me a sense of pride because I know there were so many people before me. The reason why I stand here today is because of so many people that have tried. Even if they didn't get this far, they opened the door, they cracked the door open, right? So that I could get to this opportunity. So I have to really take a pause and say that this my position isn't all about me, and Black History Month reminds me of that. It's not about me, it's also about what was before me, who all did all the work to get me here, and who is continuing to do the work to keep me here. And hopefully, what doors I'll open for the next generation that can come through. So it is a special time for me. It definitely makes me feel honored and it gives me all the pride. I walk around with a different smile than normal because I have so much to smile about doing Black History Month.
And I admit, again, I don't want to seem like a fan, you know, I'm supposed to be professional, but I'm just so grateful for sharing space with you today and just being able to explain your story, share your story, because this is really, really a huge deal. I mean, you're very, very, you know, humble about it and everything. And I can appreciate all of the work that you've done and that you put in to get to this position. But it just really, really is a huge deal. So I just had to say that and give you your flowers. I'm just so excited for the opportunity. Now, how do you hope your story inspires future generations of Black women, not just in law enforcement, but in all areas of leadership?
Yes, I do hope it does. And my message would be, you can do it. And sometimes it can be hard, right? We go through different seasons, different things happen. I can't sit here and say it's been an easy journey, but anything easy isn't even worth it. I think things that you work for, you appreciate. I have a young son, and I'm trying to teach him that. I have a 6-year-old, And I'm like, look, you got to put the work in if you want to be the best. If you want to be the fastest, you gotta practice running, And talking to a 6-year-old, that's like, what, mom? But I would say it's worth it. You got to put the work in, even when you don't feel like it. You got to get up. And if you fall down, that's okay. We have bad days. The thing is, you just got to keep going. You got to get up and you got to keep going. So you can have a setback, or you can totally mess up something. That's fine, but don't let it stop you, and don't let any obstacle stop you. If you're a single mom, hey, we have plenty of single moms out here that are doing amazing things. Find you a good village and make it happen, right? If you need to study at night, study when the kids are sleeping. Figure it out. Like, you can make it work. I am big on schedules, obviously, because I'm a cop. I'm all about routines and consistency, and I plan out my calendar. I just have one child, but he's enough. And but he is very active. So between sports and everything else, I just try to plug it all in, and I really try to show up in those spaces. But being organized has helped with that. And I would say, just don't write yourself off and say, I can't do it, or I don't feel like it. We can make all kind of excuses, like, I'm tired. Oh yeah, you're gonna be tired, but sometimes we gotta do things when we're tired. Um, and you'll get the fulfillment afterwards, right? So sometimes it's not an instant gratification thing. Sometimes you got to put the work in, and you don't see the results for years and years later, but they're coming as long as you're consistent. So my message is, keep showing up, and keep showing up. Even if you fall down, you get back up and you keep showing up, and you will get there. You will get there.
And be okay, like you said, with it not being instant gratification, because I think that can be the downfall for all of us sometimes. We want to see it now. Well, I've been working for 5 years and I need to see my rewards right now. Well, sometimes it takes 6, sometimes it takes 10. Just keep
That's right.
forward. And like you were saying earlier, even if you don't understand the why, keep moving forward, because it'll be worth it. Now, when we think about legacy, what do you want people to remember most about your service and your leadership?
I think I want them to remember that I led with my heart. Um, and I know that sounds like, oh, but I really mean that. Like, I really care about people, and I just can't shake that. I mean, when I entered into the job, so we talk about some of those stereotypes. The funny thing is, when I first started, I remember one of the officers saying, "Oh, she don't need to be an officer. She smiles too much. She's too dang on happy." And I said, "Oh." And I really thought to myself, do I need to stop smiling? Do I need to walk around angry? Like, is that going to make me fit in better? But I said, no, that's not who I am. I'm going to keep smiling because I got so much to smile about, right? So I'm like, I'm not going to let them change who I am, because that don't meet their what they want, right? If they want to walk around angry and sad looking, well, let them do that. But that doesn't work for me. So I really try to just stay true to who I am, and I really believe in leading with my heart, and caring about people. And my legacy, I want internally the officers to know that I really cared about them. And
Yeah.
I have done some different things to really focus on wellness. I'm a big wellness person, and not just physical fitness. I believe in that too, but I think overall wellness is important. From your health to your finances, to your mental health, to having a spiritual connection, to everything that makes wellness whole. And I've really been focused on, and we started a wellness committee here at the agency, to really put that in place. Because if you want good officers, they got to be healthy, and they
Yes.
got to be healthy overall. So I feel like if we can make them healthy, then they're going to go out and they're going to serve the community and do what they need to do to be the best officers that Greenville can have. So my legacy is definitely going to be my heart, and just caring about people, internal and external. The community, same thing. If I can help a community, if community is struggling with something, I'm willing to sit down, listen to them,
Mhm.
understand kind of what their concerns are. It may not be the answer immediately that they want, but we gonna work together and see what we can do from a police department and a community working together to try to fix whatever problems there are, or at least help whatever problems they have. So I hope that people will remember me for my heart and the fact that I truly care about people. Is what I hope that they'll remember.
Well, I think that that's so important because I too have that same mindset. I lead with my heart. And I remember working as a case manager. It was one time when I did the right thing because I was leading with my heart. And my supervisor told me that I was too nice to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that doesn't even make sense. Like when you're, what? You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I really had to sit there like, you're too nice to your clients. And like you said, I was working with a certain population of people that had stuff going on. And that might have been the only kind word that they hear in a day. And you said, I'm too nice.
Yeah.
Still puzzles me to this day. So I really, really appreciate you bringing that fact up because I think for officers, it's hard for you guys sometimes to kind of find a happy medium. You know what I mean? As
I
far as
do. Yeah.
present yourself and
Mm-hmm.
then being who you really are, but still being able to be tough when
Right.
needed. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I appreciate that, you know, that you lead with heart. And but when it's time to get down with the get down, now we can do
Yes.
that too.
We can handle that too. Yeah. Yeah. You got to start with a smile, but the smile can turn to something else if it has to. But
Exactly. Exactly.
I'll let other people, if that's what you want, then just
I
go
can give
with
you
it.
what you want, what you didn't know you needed.
Right. Right.
So if you could send one message to your younger self, what would it be?
Hmm. I think I would tell her to trust the journey. And it is a journey. Like I said, every day is not going to be easy, but if you can just trust the process and know that everything has a reason, like even though we may not understand the reason is sometimes bigger than us. And if we can just trust the process and trust the journey, then one day we'll be able to sit back and say, okay, I see. I get it. I went through that because it helped me. I had a chance this morning to talk with some of our new officers that brand new. They just graduated the academy, so they're not even in uniform. They have a couple of weeks before they even get a uniform. But that was one of the things I wanted to share with them is, you're gonna have moments where you're questioning yourself, like, is this what I want to do? Is there something else out there? And those are real questions. You really need to ask yourself that because if it's not, then you do need to go find that. But if it's just a moment and you're just not having the best day, and I want you to come back. I want you not to give up. I want you to keep going and just trust the journey, and I feel like you'll find your why and you'll get there and you'll be able to look back and you'll have so many memories to say, okay, I had a good career. This is a good career. I'm enjoying what I'm doing and I'm making a difference. A lot of people can't say that.
Yeah.
Public service is one of those jobs where you can say, I'm making a difference. I'm helping people that can't help themselves in the moment. So I think that's exactly what I would tell her is, hey, you got to trust the journey, girl. Slow down. It's gonna be all right.
And trust the why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
And you're stronger than you think. Like a lot of times when you're young, you really question it too. You're like, oh, and like I said, I was told like I smiled too much. I was a little smaller then. So they were like, "Oh, what's this girl gonna do?" Why she don't know nothing about law enforcement. So I had to really like understand and believe in myself and say, "Hey, if they can do the job, why can't you do it? If you got the training, you're doing all the same things that they did. Why can't you do it?" So once you can get out of your own mental, because it don't matter what anybody else thinks, it's what you believe. So if you believe in yourself, then you can get through it. So once you get there and you start believing in yourself and recognizing that you can do the job, you can stand. And sometimes you're going to do it even better because you have a different gift. A lot of our women, the gift that they have is that communication.
yes.
We're a little bit more patient.
Mhm.
We want to know the why behind it. Like, why are you acting like that? And we're not just going, oh, you just, we're like, what is wrong with you? Why are you acting like? We'll start with, and a lot of people have a connection with a woman, and it's usually a mother, a grandmother, or something like that. So people say that they're like, well, didn't you have to deal with a lot of people trying to fight you? Most of my fights were other women. It wasn't the men because it was almost like they saw me as a sister or a mother or auntie or something. So they were more, not saying it now, I don't want you to think that a man won't fight you, but but I had less because I think there was a little bit of a respect for a
Yeah.
woman because of their relationships with a woman.
That's what I was going to say. More of a respect factor. Even in situations that were hard, I could see where it would still be more of a respect factor with the men than with the women. And also, too, one thing that I think people need to realize, whether you want to go into law enforcement or not, honey, women are investigators. I just think that it's in our blood anyway.
Yeah.
So you have that as well. Definitely. We're going to find out.
And we can see like sometimes people's emotions don't match what the action is, right? So they're all screaming and yelling, and you're like, what's going on here? And then you're like, oh, they're mad about something else. This ain't even what we're here for. They're mad about something else. And sometimes you can bring them back by saying, what is really bothering you? And they're like, oh, well. So I mean, we do have a gift, and we have a place in law enforcement for sure.
Yes.
We're starting to see our numbers rise as far as women getting into the career, which is exciting. When I first started, I probably could count how many females we had on a patrol shift on my hand, right? So it is exciting to see so many young ladies interested in coming in the door. So there's a place. So I hope we can continue that, and hopefully it'll be a career that attracts everyone. Well, we need everyone. Our police department should look like our community. So we should have a little bit of everything.
Yes, I'm in complete agreement with that. Well, this has been a very inspiring conversation with Deputy Chief Thomas. Thank you so much for not only your service and leadership, but for being a living example of what it means to walk in purpose, stand in power, even when you don't understand the why. Your story reminds us that when we break barriers, we don't just do it for ourselves, we do it for those coming behind us. You've shown us that strength and grace can coexist, and that the history is made by those who refuse to give up. To all my listeners, I hope this episode leaves you encouraged to chase your purpose and walk boldly into every room you deserve to be in. Chief Deputy Thomas, thank you so much for your time and sharing space with me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the fact that you even thought about me, and I hope our conversation inspires someone.
Absolutely. So until next time, I'm Myra, and this has been Moments with Myra. Stay grounded, stay grateful, and keep making history of your own. Have a great day.
Time's a one-way road. We don't choose which way we get to go. This mirror tells me that I'm getting old. Spent too much time just doing what I'm told. I'm watching another sunset. But the hourglass ain't empty just yet. There's days when I ain't fool enough to know. The nights when I ain't blind enough These years gone have left me for dead. Whoa, but the hourglass just turned on its head. I'm watching another sunset. But the hourglass ain't empty just yet. I'm watching another sunset. But the hourglass ain't empty just yet. Time's a one-way road. We don't choose which way we get to go.